Prince destinations where dreams take flight.
Okay, so you guys sent in a ton of stuff on Croatia.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. And I'm excited to dive in to all of it with you today.
Me too.
Croatia. I mean, it just sounds so interesting, right?
Yeah.
Ancient history, beautiful coastlines, and, modern vibrancy.
Yeah. Definitely a mix of old and new.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start with the basics. You mentioned Illyrian tribes in the sources.
Yeah.
What's the deal with them?
Well, they were sort of the OG inhabitants of the region.
Okay.
And their art and architecture, it really laid the groundwork for what came later. They were the foundation.
Ah, okay. So like the canvas before the masterpiece, right?
Exactly. And speaking of masterpieces,
Enter the Romans.
boom, 1st century AD, right?
Sure.
And they brought with them, everything. Empire, culture, even Christianity. I was reading about the Pula Arena. It's not just any old Roman amphitheater, right?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, think about it. It's still used for concerts today. That's how well built it was.
Oh, wow. So, you could be seeing a rock concert where gladiators once fought.
Exactly. Can you imagine that? Wild. Okay, so after the Romans, things get kind of, complicated. I saw in these sources about kingdoms, duchies, even the Byzantine Empire showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought Eastern Orthodox Christianity into the mix.
Yeah, Croatia's cultural tapestry is, it's really layered.
Yeah, real mix.
So many different influences over the centuries. Like the Venetian Republic, for example, they were a major maritime power, and their impact on Croatian culture, especially along the coast, is huge.
Starting to sound like a history buff's dream vacation.
Oh, absolutely. Then you have the Austro-Hungarian Empire bringing in Central European influences. It all blends together.
Oh, speaking of blending, then we get to the 19th and 20th centuries. Croatia becomes part of Yugoslavia. Big changes, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a time of major upheaval, both politically and culturally.
So how did that shape Croatian identity, would you say, based on the sources?
Well, it's interesting. Even within Yugoslavia, Croatian artists and intellectuals, they found ways to express their unique national identity.
So even being part of this larger structure, that drive for a distinct Croatian identity was always there.
Absolutely. And it eventually led to their independence in 1991.
Which brings us to modern-day Croatia.
Yeah.
Independent and ready to forge its own path, right?
Exactly. And they've done an amazing job of weaving their heritage into a modern, vibrant society.
Your notes mentioned folk music and dance being a big part of that?
Oh, definitely. And there's so many festivals that celebrate these traditions.
Which one stood out to you from the sources?
Honestly, I was fascinated by the festivals that blend traditional and modern elements. They'll have folk music, but with a contemporary twist.
So it's not just preserving the past, it's evolving it.
Yes, exactly. It's living culture, constantly being reinterpreted and reinvented.
I love that. Okay, I have to ask about the food. You wrote Croatian Tuscany in the margin next to a section on Istria.
Ah, Istria. It's where Mediterranean and Central European flavors meet.
You mean example?
Think fresh seafood with truffle oil, or local wines from the rolling hills paired with hearty pasta dishes.
Okay, now I'm getting hungry.
It's a foodie's paradise, truly.
Let's do a little virtual tour of Croatia, shall we?
Yeah.
Based on what stood out in your notes. Let's start with Istria. You got Pula with the amazing arena.
Right, and then Rovinj. So charming, right on the coast. You've got to see the Church of St. Euphemia. Beautiful Venetian architecture overlooking the Adriatic.
Stunning. Okay, what's next on our itinerary?
Let's head inland to Zagorje.
Zagorje.
Yeah, it's a region full of castles and vineyards. You mentioned Croatian castle in the sources, straight out of a fairy tale.
And did I see something about a castle that's actually a hotel?
There are a few of those, actually.
Oh, wow. What a cool experience that would be. Okay, so we've done inland. Now let's get back to the coast. What about Dalmatia?
The Dalmatian coast. Sun, sea, history. We have to start with Zadar. Over 3,000 years old and just buzzing with energy.
I read about the sea organ in Zadar. What's that all about?
The sea organ, it's an architectural sound art. It uses the waves to make music.
No way. That's incredible.
And there's also this Greeting to the Sun installation, a huge circle of solar panels that light up at night. Magical.
So cool. Okay, what else is on the Dalmatian coast?
Well, there's Ibanik, home to not one, but 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
Wow. Okay, we need to go there.
Absolutely. And then there's Trogir, beautiful old town, Romanesque, Baroque, Renaissance architecture.
Sounds like a crash course in architectural history.
It is. And then, of course, there's Split.
Split. Home to Diocletian's palace. That was on your must-see list, check.
Definitely. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, a palace built by a Roman emperor. It's a city within a city, and you can literally walk through history.
Oh, wow. Okay, so to wrap up our whirlwind tour, we have to talk about Dubrovnik, the pearl of the Adriatic. It's all over the sources.
Dubrovnik, walking the city walls is a must. They're medieval fortifications offering panoramic views of the city and the sea.
It sounds absolutely magical.
It is truly special.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, from ancient Illyrian tribes to modern festivals and truffle-infused cuisine.
Croatia really does have something for everyone, huh?
It seems that way. So to all our listeners out there, which period or region in Croatia's history resonated with you the most?
And what aspect of modern Croatian culture are you most intrigued by?
Keep those questions in mind as you continue your deep dive into Croatia.